The Utah Jazz find themselves at a crucial crossroads with one of their most significant challenges looming large: deciding the fate of the team options for their young players. This issue is not just a routine roster management task. It could shape the future trajectory of the franchise in profound ways. The front office of the Utah Jazz, led by Austin Ainge and Justin Zanuck, has often emphasized key themes such as flexibility, optionality, and sustainability throughout their rebuilding journey. These buzzwords aren't just hollow slogans. They represent a strategic intent to keep the team nimble, ready to seize opportunities without being hamstrung by bad contracts or a bloated roster. The hope is to stay open to trade possibilities and free agent signings that can inject meaningful talent when the timing is just right. However, when it comes to crafting a roster that sustains long-term success, the Jazz are still in the early innings. We are far from seeing the results of this rebuild play out fully. What they have achieved so far is a solid foundation. They have avoided locking themselves into burdensome long-term contracts, have stockpiled draft assets, and are strategically planning for ample salary cap space. This financial latitude allows them the room to potentially sign marquee players without sacrificing their financial health or flexibility. While there will be plenty of future discussions about trade exceptions remaining from recent moves involving John Collins and PJ Tucker, the immediate priority isn't about future trades. It's about imminent roster decisions. Specifically, the Jazz must confront the challenge of handling team options on rookie-scale contracts held by several young players. This decision is pivotal as it directly affects the team's flexibility and future optionality. Here's a key point for those unfamiliar with NBA contract details. First-round draft picks sign 4-year rookie-scale contracts. The first 2 years are guaranteed, but years 3 and 4 typically come with team options. This means the franchise has control over whether to keep a player under contract for those seasons. What makes these options especially crucial is their timing. The Jazz must decide whether to exercise these options by October 31st of the season before the option year begins. For instance, Ace Bailey, who was drafted by the Jazz this summer, has team options for his 3rd and 4th seasons. However, the decision about his 3rd-year option must be made by October 31st, 2026, right at the beginning of his 2nd NBA season. This deadline puts immense pressure on the Jazz to forecast player development and roster value, well before the on-court proof might be fully realized. They must choose whether to commit to these players for multiple additional seasons or to part ways early, freeing roster spots and preserving cap flexibility. The players at the center of this decision-making dilemma are Taylor Hendricks, Keyonte George, Brice Sensabaugh, Cody Williams, and Isaiah Collier. This isn't a simple yes or no choice about watching one more season of development. Instead, the Jazz need to decide if they want to commit to 2 more seasons, 2025-26, which is already guaranteed, and 2026-27 for each of these young athletes. On top of player growth considerations, the Jazz must evaluate how retaining these players impacts their roster makeup and cap space in future years. Holding on to too many young players on rookie deals could limit flexibility for acquiring new talent or making pivotal trades. There are clear pros and cons at play. Rookie-scale contracts offer a financial advantage because they are relatively inexpensive while holding the promise of significant upside if the player blossoms. Exercising options keeps costs predictable and preserves team control, essential in navigating the salary cap and maintaining optionality. But there's a risk on the other side too. Letting go of a player who struggles early might look like a missed opportunity if that player flourishes elsewhere. Conversely, clinging to a player who fails to develop as hoped, even at a rookie-level salary, could drain resources and limit trade value down the line. Each decision will depend heavily on the team's vision for its rebuild and timeline for returning to competitiveness. Players who fit the Jazz's strategic plans, whether as core future stars, key role players, or valuable trade chips, are much more likely to have their options exercised. Taking a closer look at individual players, some decisions seem clearer than others. For example, Taylor Hendricks is likely an easy call. He suffered a significant injury last season, breaking his leg and dislocating his ankle, which sidelined him after just 3 games. Notably, his third-year option was picked up just a week before that injury occurred, underscoring the team's belief in his potential. The Jazz have been cautious with his rehabilitation and have turned down trade inquiries, signaling they see Hendricks as a vital contributor going forward. Brice Sensabaugh also seems poised to have his option exercised. His shooting ability is a valuable asset, and at the cost of a team-friendly contract, retaining a shooter is almost always advantageous. Although his defensive game could use improvement, the market for shooters means he holds tangible value, either as a player on the roster or as a trade asset. The harder calls involve Keyonte George, Isaiah Collier, and Cody Williams. Each must demonstrate meaningful progress to justify another commitment. George and Collier face pressure to prove they offer more than just baseline or replacement-level talent. Williams, in particular, needs to show clear signs of development during this upcoming season to maintain belief in his NBA future. But here's where it gets complicated. The Jazz can't afford to wait until this season concludes before making these decisions. The timing of these options means choices must be made well before a full year's worth of evidence on development is available. Generally, teams tend to pick up rookie options even if players aren't projected to be stars due to the low financial risk. Yet, the Jazz's situation is somewhat unique in scale. Having 5 rookie-scale players with upcoming option decisions is a rarity across the NBA. Only the Washington Wizards face more such choices. The franchise hopes to secure another high draft pick in 2026 and will likely not maintain such a crowded roster of young players in the long term. So, are they ready to admit they've seen all they need from any of these prospects and move on? Or will they double down, holding on to the hopes of untapped potential? The clock is ticking. The Jazz have merely 2 months to determine their path forward with these young talents, making this roster and salary cap issue the most urgent and impactful challenge facing the team right now. Here's a question to consider. Is it wiser for the Jazz to prioritize maintaining flexibility and cap space over betting early on the potential of these young players? Or should they embrace the risks and hold on to as many prospects as possible, banking on the chance that 1 or 2 may develop into stars? Your thoughts on this could spark a lively debate. Do you agree with the Jazz's cautious approach? Or do you think they should take greater risks? Let's discuss.